So I've been back in the hostel that I started out in back in May. I've been here for the past few days. And the lovely little Chinese guy that I met here that works here, we always talk about the things that we're learning from Christ and in His Word. And I try to encourage him because he smiles all the time, like this big smile. He's got such joy and conviction and fire. And he was talking about Peter walking on the waves to the Lord. Like Peter came out of the boat, stepped onto the waves, started walking to the Lord, and then, became overwhelmed. And I don't know, the Spirit spoke to me in that moment and reminded me that, Peter was a fisherman. The sea was the territory of his trade. He was used to waves. He was used to rain. He was used to, being able to see what was coming because his trade of fishing depended on the weather and the conditions, the environment, the fog, whatever. What really got me though is that, he was in his natural environment with his fellow disciples when the Lord came to them on the water. And when he stepped out, he was still within his natural element of trade, the seas, the boat, whatever. But when the conditions of his trade or his natural environment, when the conditions changed and became tumultuous, he allowed his senses to be overcome by all of the difficulties coming at him at once, because there was wind and there was waves, there was instability, rocking of the boat, rocking of himself when he got out of the boat. So the environment that he was used to suddenly became an uncomfortable environment. And that discomfort forced his focus, or he allowed it to shift his focus from the author and perfecter of his faith that he was walking towards. And it shifted his focus on the circumstances instead. I know we know the story and we hear it and we're like, oh, well, Peter lost faith and Peter got overwhelmed by the waves. He did. But it shouldn't have been such a surprise that the elements that he was used to were the very elements used to shift his focus from the Lord. So just a reminder that the things that we're used to, the things that we become comfortable in, the devil will use those, and so will your enemies here on the earth, will use those to shift your focus. They will make you uncomfortable. Sometimes the Lord allows our environment to change to make us uncomfortable. And sometimes, like me, you walk into discomfort yourself because you have decided that you know better. And mind you, it's been, it's not really been that uncomfortable. It's been a little stressful the past few days because everything has kind of fallen apart but come together. And I'm reminded that, my uncertainty is not his uncertainty. It's just what I feel. And my discomfort is not his discomfort. It is what I have allowed to interrupt my focus and get in the way of my perception of the character of Christ. So I just wanted to shout out a little friendly reminder that, your circumstances, your environment, we cannot allow our senses to be overrun by what we already know is there just because it gets a little chaotic. We can control our focus. So anyway, hope you're encouraged.